I've been struggling a lot to balance keeping strong boundaries that make me feel safe and protected with being kind to people. I still feel some guilt after setting boundaries with people sometimes, and I know that will go away with time, but I'm struggling to either be cold and distant or kind. Any advice? First, first point that you all need to understand, okay? Boundaries are an act of kindness and honor of self and others. Boundaries, setting boundaries is in of itself an act of kindness and honor toward yourself and others. Let me say that again. The very act of setting boundaries is an act of kindness and honor toward yourself and others. How toward others? Because you're honoring other people's autonomy. Instead of this enmeshment where they're codependent and you're codependent and they can control your emotions and behaviors and you can control their emotions and behavior, you're actually extending honor by extending autonomy to the other person. You're saying, you know what, you can be however you're going to be, but if you choose to be that way around me, you choose to violate me, if you choose to disrespect me, dishonor me, then this is what's going to happen. Because I value you and I don't want to control you, and because I value me and I don't want to be controlled either. The very act of setting boundaries honors other people because it also says you're better than this behavior. You're better than this behavior. You don't have the right to attack me with your words because you're better than that. It's pulling out intrinsic value in people by saying, I know that's how you're feeling. I know that's how you want to respond, but you're better than that. You're stronger than that. You have the capacity for more self-control than that. It's a deep and profound act of honor towards self and others. That's how I see it, and that's why I'm completely unapologetic about my boundaries. I set a boundary and your feelers get hurt, that's on you. I don't control your feelings. Maybe you need to go process some shit. But I'm not going to let your feelings manipulate me, nor am I going to try to manipulate you with my feelings. That's essentially what we're saying when we're setting boundaries. And that's why you can be so resolute and so confident and so unwavering in your boundaries. Because you're going, look, I deserve to be treated better, and you're better than this. You don't have to be a douchebag. You don't have to be an abuser. You could actually treat me with kindness and dignity and respect. You're better than this. Boundaries, and it kind of brings me to my next point. Here's the thing. Unhealthy people cannot respond to health in a healthy way. Okay? Unhealthy people cannot respond to health in a healthy way. Okay? What does that mean when it comes to boundaries? If you set a reasonable boundary that you're not going to be verbally abused, and you state that boundary with somebody, and they try to vilify you and tell you, oh, you're being so controlling and you were never like this before, and how dare you tell me how I can act, all of that bullshit that they will try to project onto you, okay? Unhealthy people cannot respond to health in a healthy way. What does that mean? You set a boundary with someone and they attack you for that boundary. They try to vilify you for that boundary. They violate your boundary. Let's say your boundary is, I'm not going to be verbally abused, and they start verbally abusing you because you set a boundary. That should indicate not that you're being cruel, but that they were benefiting from your lack of boundary. If someone gets fussy with you for setting a boundary, it is proof, evidence that they were benefiting by your lack of boundary. There's a difference between being assertive in your boundaries and being aggressive with your boundaries. Okay? There's a difference between assertive and aggressive. Assertive and aggressive. Okay? So, You can set boundaries in an assertive and empowered way, okay? Or you can set boundaries in a controlling, aggressive way. Now, the story is I was asked to write an article for a big, very well-known online magazine. And I submitted the article to the editor following their guidelines in terms of, content, topic, word count, whatever. And they came back at me, said, "Great article. We love your article. However, you used this word, and we would rather you use these sets of words instead." And now what I said was perfectly adequate. The words that I chose were perfectly adequate. The point was made. This was just a matter of their corporate agenda. Let me just put it that way. So because of their corporate agenda, they were telling me, "Hey, we're requesting that you change how you phrased these particular things." And I was absolutely unwilling to do it. Absolutely unwilling to do it. No one controls my tongue. No one. And so I was having a really aggressive reaction to it because it was triggering my Enneagram 8. No one controls me. No one tells me what to do. And so I was feeling very aggressive. And so I didn't reply. I just sat on the email for a couple of days until I no longer had that aggressive energy. And then I wrote the editor back. And I said, basically, thank you for sharing your perspective. However, that is not something I am willing to do. So if you feel that we are now at an impasse regarding this article, I've already linked 2 other articles that I've previously written for your consideration. Please let me know how you would like to proceed. My boundary was set. I'm not going to change how I phrase those things. You're not going to control my tongue. But I approached it with a solution in mind. I don't want to burn a bridge. I don't want to be aggressive. I don't want to trigger anyone. You don't get to control me, and you don't get to control my tongue. And so that's how I approached it. And the editor was thrilled with my response. And thank you so much for your consideration. Everything worked out great. The article was published. Great relationship. Everything was fine. That's the power of setting boundaries. If you have to be aggressive or triggered to set a boundary, you're not actually in control of your boundary. Your trigger is.